You're to rescue DARPA Chief Donald Anderson and the President of Armstech, Kenneth Baker.
The man you saw die before your eyes was not the DARPA Chief, it was Decoy Octopus.
It's a trap. A sniper's trick to lure you out.
It must be sniperable.
But it's strange. He looks like he's been dead for days.
So, is it true? Was Big Boss really your father?
That's what he said.
Why are you calling me brother? Who the hell are you? I'm you! I'm your shadow!
Dr. Naomi Hunter must be some kind of spy.
I'm going to the underground base. We're out of time.
From today, you can call this place Outer Heaven.
While Snake isn't focused on one of the surveillance camera, Ocelot just happens to mention that if the PAL override keys are used again, Rex will be deactivated. Finally, Liquid mentions that they will keep Meryl alive as their ace in the hole. Otacon calls Snake and tells him that he found out how to use the key. Apparently, the key can be used to activate or deactivate Rex. If it's active, the keys will deactivate it. If it's inactive, then the keys will then activate it. But the keys can only be used once. Not only that, but the trick to the keys is that there is only one key. The key Snake has is made of an alloy that changes shape depending on the temperature. Yes, much like the brooch that he got in Metal Gear 2. So, the key can take 3 shapes: room temperature, hot, and cold. The key has to be used 3 times in its 3 different forms. Ocelot notices Snake at this point and quickly shoots him. He misses, but Snake drops the key, which falls into the drainage ditch. Ocelot and Liquid close the doors to the control room and send their guards after him. Snake manages to get through them, run down to the drainage ditch, find the key, which is sometimes inside a rat's belly because it eats it. I'm not kidding. And then inputs it into the first console, the room temperature console. He then returns to the frozen warehouse where he fought Raven, waits for the key to change shapes, and inputs it into the second console. Finally, he goes to a blast furnace located before the warehouse. On his way there, however, he gets a call from Miller, who tells him to keep his call secret again so Campbell can't listen in. According to Miller, the DIA recently developed an assassination weapon, this so-called Fox Die that Liquid and Ocelot were talking about. According to Miller, both Baker and Octopus's death were similar to what Fox Die does. Fox Die kills its victim by simulating a heart attack, and Miller believes that Naomi was behind that. He asks Snake if Naomi gave him some kind of injection at any point, and Snake recalls that she gave him an injection for his nanomachines at the beginning of the mission. Snake then brings Campbell into the conversation, at which point he tells Snake that he just placed Naomi under arrest after he found her sending coded messages to Shadow Moses, and she's being interrogated now. Now being sure that Naomi was indeed working with the terrorists, Miller mentions that the Fox Die vaccine must be around somewhere. Snake questions if that's all he cares about, and Miller reminds Snake that it's possible Naomi injected him with it too. After changing the temperature of the key a 3rd time, Snake gets a call from Naomi using another codec. She admits that she was indeed working with the terrorist. She said that she really doesn't know who she is, and the reason she got into genetics was true. She wanted to find out who she was. Naomi tells Snake that she was found as an orphan in Rhodesia, now known as Zimbabwe, sometime in the 80s. Rhodesia was owned by England up until 1965, so she assumes that that's possibly where she got her skin color. But she wasn't even sure of that. All she knew is that she was always alone. This is until she met her big brother and quote-unquote him. And by him, she meant Big Boss. Her big brother, she reveals, was none other than Frank Yeager, aka Frank Hunter. Frank Hunter was but a young soldier when he found Naomi starving in a river, and he shared his rations with her. So this is why the topic of Gray Fox was such a touchy topic for her, and why she was shocked to find out that Snake considered Frank a friend. This is also why she was so hateful, saying that whenever Snake seemed to care about anybody else's life. Snake had killed her only family. Apparently, Frank protected and raised Naomi until they met Big Boss in Mozambique. Big Boss then took Naomi to America and went back to continue fighting along with Frank. Soon after that, however, Snake killed Big Boss and Frank Yeager in Zanzibar land, and Naomi vowed revenge. After 2 long years, she finally had that opportunity. Naomi explains that Fox Die is a type of retrovirus designed to kill people only with a certain type of DNA, meaning it could infect the whole world, but if it was only programmed to only infect one type of DNA, only that one person would die. Remember, Zero was talking to Skullface about this in the Truth Tapes. He mentioned not needing the vocal cord parasites anymore because he was looking into a weapon that could kill more precise targets. This was it.
I'm sure we can find something here to bring that plan back into action.
Forget it. The Cleanser project was just another one of my predecessor's daydreams.
And the vocal cord parasites?
Were an excellent test case for reverse evolution. Nothing more. What matters now is the genetics technology behind that work. With genetics, the clumsiness in targeting an entire race isn't an issue. We can target specific individuals.
So Fox Die seemed to be a byproduct of the research done on the vocal cord parasite. Naomi admits that she injected them into Snake and that she programmed the receptors to pick up on Snake's genetic sequence. This was to be her revenge. Snake, however, was only concerned with having enough time to finish his mission. He actually didn't blame her for wanting revenge on him and understood her. Instead of telling him if there's enough time, however, Naomi tells Snake that she didn't make the decision to use Fox Die. The use of Fox Die was actually part of this operation from the very beginning. Naomi began telling Snake something, however, before she could, she was caught talking to Snake and put under arrest. Campbell then gets in on the call and Snake demands he puts her back on, but Campbell refuses. Snake then tells Campbell that he double-crossed him, but Campbell simply tells him to stop Metal Gear. Finally, Snake inputs the final key into the console, and then he hears something he was not expecting.
PAL code entry complete. Detonation code activated. Ready for launch.
No! Why?
Snake was shocked and confused as he thought he deactivated it. Miller calls Snake at this point and thanks him for finding the key and completing the detonation code for them. When Snake asks what he's saying, Miller tells Snake that they were not able to get the DARPA chief's code despite Ocelot's torture. A fact that really he should have been able to put together himself after finding out that Ocelot accidentally killed the DARPA chief. Meaning that they were never able to activate Rex. So he decided to use Snake. First, he tried to get information out of him by disguising Decoy Octopus as the DARPA chief and trying to get Snake to tell him of any way to activate Metal Gear that he's aware of. Remember, right before he died, he started asking him if he knows any other way to activate Rex over and over again.
I'm gonna get you out of here.
Wait a minute. You haven't heard any other way to disarm the PAL, have you? From your bosses or anyone?
No.
Are you sure you haven't heard anything?
I just said no.
Does the White House plan to give in to the terrorists' demands?
That's their problem. It has nothing to do with my orders.
What about the Pentagon?
Pentagon?
However, Fox-Eye got in the way and killed him. So all of this was orchestrated to get Snake to put the PAL override keys. As, like Godicon said, if it's used when it's activated, it's deactivated. But if it's used when it's deactivated, then it's activated. Now that Rex is active, he believes that the Pentagon will hand over the Fox-Die vaccine, removing their ace in the hole. This ace in the hole was apparently successful in the torture room, but he never goes to explain what he means by that. Snake asks Miller who he really is, as he doesn't believe that this is actually Miller anymore. Campbell then jumps in the conversation and tells Snake that Miller's body, Kaz's body, was just found at his home, and that he had been dead for at least 3 days. This whole time, the person acting as Miller was actually
Me, dear brother.
Liquid tells Snake that he has served his purpose and that he may now die. The call ends at this point, and the control room closes as it fills with poison gas. Snake calls Otacon and asks him to try to open the doors. Otacon manages to open the doors and stops the gas by hacking into security. When Snake exits, he sees Liquid walking by towards Rex. Snake follows him and stops him before he enters Rex. Liquid then tells Snake that he performed the orders of the Pentagon perfectly without even realizing it. Apparently, Snake's whole mission was orchestrated only so he would come in contact with anyone and everyone involved. The DARPA chief, Baker, Liquid, and all his men. Once he did, he would infect them with Foxdie, which was airborne, and Foxdie was programmed to kill each of them. This is what Naomi meant when he said that the use of Foxdie was part of this operation all along. It's also why Octopus and Baker only died moments after Snake made contact with him. This is also why, as Baker was dying, he was saying that those Pentagon bastards actually went and did it, and that they were only using Snake.
What did you do to me? Those Pentagon bastards! They actually went and did it!
What are you talking about?
They're just using you!
He knew about Foxdie, but he didn't know that they were going to be using it. And finally, this is why Ocelot called Snake Carrier Boy back in the torture room. Anyways, this way the Pentagon would be able to retrieve Metal Gear and the nuclear weapon unscathed, along with the bodies of the Genome soldiers, all without raising any of this to the public. Snake was just used as a vector to spread the virus. However, Liquid mentioned that he has a spy in the Pentagon, and he reported that Naomi made some unknown changes to Foxdie before it was deployed. I'll discuss this later. Liquid implies that he's not entirely sure that there is indeed a Foxdie vaccine. He just assumes that there must be one. However, he's not worried because the virus hasn't killed Ocelot or Snake yet. So it's possible that there's a bug in the virus. More importantly, if it hasn't killed Snake, then he believes he's safe, as both Snake and Liquid's genetic code are identical, further solidifying that they're not only brothers but twins. But he explains that they're not ordinary twins, calling out the words
Les enfants terribles.
So at this point, he doesn't say it straight up, but with all the exposition that's been given, with Snake being Big Boss's son and Snake and Liquid being twins, and our established knowledge of what Les Enfants Terribles is from Metal Gear Solid 5, we can now come to the conclusion that Snake and Liquid are genetically engineered clones of Big Boss. And if it wasn't obvious, this makes Liquid none other than Eli from Metal Gear Solid 5, making Snake David, who is only mentioned in the truth tapes in Metal Gear Solid 5. David and Eli, Big Boss's sons. Liquid goes on to express his anger at the fact that Snake got all of Big Boss's dominant genes, while Liquid got all of the flawed recessive genes. Liquid only exists so that the creation of Snake would be possible. This explains why Eli was always so angry in Metal Gear Solid 5. It wasn't just about him feeling like a copy of Big Boss instead of his own person, but the fact that he believed that he was nothing but the leftovers of the project.
I was created by Cypher, and I was the flaw. My fate was written in my genes. I'm the loser, all because of you. I'm not me. I'm just a copy of you. I will surpass my father, destroy my father, destroy you.
right. I'm just the leftovers of what they used to make you. Can you understand what it's like to know that you're garbage since the day you were born? You don't even understand this! You, who could kill your own real father! You stole my chance for revenge! Now I'll finish the work that father began! I will surpass him! I will destroy him!
So instead of killing him, he's decided to finish the work that Big Boss began. In this way, he believes he will surpass him and destroy him. Suddenly, Rex's cockpit opens and Liquid climbs on before Snake can shoot him. Then, the platform Rex is on begins to rise as the cat walks around to collapse. Snake jumps on the platform and for the first time becomes a little panicky as he has no idea how to stop Rex. Otacon advises Snake to destroy the radome on Rex's left shoulder, which will cause Liquid to open the cockpit in order to see anything. Then he will get a clear shot at Liquid. So, many shaft grenades later, used to disrupt the tracking system in Rex's missiles, and many Stinger missiles later, Rex finally collapses. However, it starts moving again and raises its foot to try and squash Snake, but right in the nick of time, Rex's foot is stopped by Gray Fox, the ninja. Gray Fox reveals that he was the one that helped him a few times through his mission under the pseudonym of Deep Throat. He then proceeds to attack Rex in order to try to completely destroy its radome. He throws his blade at Rex, causing it great damage, but still not enough to destroy the radome. So he then shoots it with his Mega Buster. Still not enough to destroy it, however, but it's enough to temporarily disrupt it. Gray Fox takes his time to talk to Snake. Snake tells him to give up this quest for death he has and to remember Naomi, who's hell-bent on taking revenge for him. But Fox doesn't believe that he can help Naomi as he is the one who killed her parents and left her an orphan in the first place. The only reason he didn't kill her too is because he was a young soldier back then and couldn't bring himself to do it. His guilt is what made him decide to raise her. He says that despite the fact that they looked like a happy family, every time he looked at her, he saw her family and trembled with fear. So Fox asks Snake to tell her the truth before he jumps back into battle with Rex. After a bunch of Matrix moves, Fox slides towards Rex and shoots it, causing it further damage. However, Liquid manages to cut off his entire arm with Rex's laser, and then crushed Fox with Rex's cockpit. Fox just lays there dismembered, bloodied, crushed, and defeated. But even half dead, he uses his what life he has left to keep shooting at Rex's radome until it was finally destroyed for good, forcing Liquid to open Rex's cockpit. Gray Fox tells Snake to fire the Stinger missiles, but Snake can't bring himself to do it, as he would be killing Fox as well. No matter how much he tried, Snake couldn't bring himself to kill Fox a second time. Liquid pulls Fox to the ground and crushes him with Rex's foot. With his last breaths, Gray Fox, Frank Hunter, tells Snake a last bit of friendly advice. He tells him,
Snake, we're not tools of the government or anyone else. Fighting was the only thing I was good at. But at least, I always fought for what I believed in. Snake, farewell.
Snake, now more determined than ever, resumes his fight with Liquid. Snake manages to put Rex out of commission by shooting multiple Stinger missiles into the cockpit, which, instead of completely disseminating Liquid, it destroys Metal Gear Rex. Big Boss's genes are made of some good shit. Anyways, Liquid goes in to crush Snake, but right as he's about to, Rex seizes all movement and begins to explode. The force of the explosion pushes Snake back into a wall. The last thing he sees before passing out is Liquid walking towards him. According to In the Darkness of Shadow Moses, a book written by Nastasha Romanenko of her experience as Snake's backup, which was released with Metal Gear Solid 2, during the time Snake was knocked out, Nastasha and her team could still hear everything going on through Snake's nanomachines. Liquid was aware of this, so Liquid spoke directly to them, not Campbell or Naomi, but to Nastasha and the team that had assembled in her home during this operation, one of them being an agent of the Patriots, or as they were known before, Cypher. This man's name was Richard Ames. Liquid told them that he knew they were listening and that he is glad that they're still around, as revenge was a candy that he'd been deprived of too many times. If you remember, Eli told Big Boss that he would not only destroy Big Boss, an opportunity taken from him by Snake, but that he will then destroy Cypher.
Destroy my father. Destroy you. I'll kill all of Cypher. I'll destroy your precious world.
So it seems that Eli really meant it all those years ago. He tells them, knowing he's speaking to the Patriots, that once he's done with Snake, he will come for them, and he will enjoy killing them in ways that would make the Grim Reaper's stomachs turn.